All right, these technical issues are not going to get me off zone.
No.
And get ready for some authentic relating, because this preacher chick is going to be genuine and real.
All right.
I have notes. I don't even need to bring my sticky pad to make notes. So, what's on my mind right now is, and my heart is, I know I talked a couple of Fridays ago about how are you with others? Do you allow them to make mistakes? Do you give them tenderness when tenderness is needed? Are you forgiving, compassionate, kind with others? And then I told the story of the Messiah. The Messiah is one among us. You remember?
Oh, yeah.
And then I said, and this question for you, I wanted to ask that is too often neglected. And then I asked you, I want to know, how are you with you? And do you give yourself tenderness when it's called for? And do you allow yourself to make mistakes? And are you compassionate and kind with yourself? And is Leah here? No, she's not. Okay, let me back up. I'm gonna, last night, Tim and I were out to dinner. And the bartender was all a flurry with some situation that was going on. And so he brought out this guy from the back who was stumbling, falling over drunk. And one of those kind of drunks that's like a blind blackout drunk. And so Tim said, oh, Sheila, let's stop talking to me. This guy, the bartender may need help. Because the bartender he was kind of new at the bartending and didn't seem to know exactly what to do. So you won't be surprised to hear that Tim jumped up, went over, held the guy up, told the bartender, call a taxi, bring me a chair for the guy, bring me a bucket. And then Tim said to the guy, he shook his hand, looked him in the eye and said, hi, how are you? My name is Tim. What's your name? And the guy struggled to follow him. And I think he did give him a name. And then Tim said, how long you been in Ahiki? We're new here. And he was talking to him, and the guy was trying to follow. And Tim, I'm sorry for sharing this tale. I know you wouldn't want me to do this, but you're not here, so. I know you're on here, you see me doing this, but I do apologize. But I don't really. So I was amazed to watch Tim in action, talking to the guy as if nothing was wrong, as if he's talking to anybody. And he also told me this morning that I was afraid the guy would get angry and belligerent, and that I would have to take a swing from him. But he didn't. The guy didn't. And Tim held him up and said, would you like to sit down? No. Tim says, what street do you live on? Where do you live? And when I would look at the guy, he would look at me with his penetrating eyes. And his eyes still told me that there's somebody alive in there. And it was amazing that even through his drunkenness, I could see his soul through his eyes. Sorry. So then the taxi came, and Tim said, put the bucket in the car so he doesn't puke all over the taxi driver's car. And finally they were able to get a street out of the guy where he lived. And so I was worried about the taxi driver. So the taxi driver, they got him in the taxi. It was a struggle. But I got a video of Tim walking away and holding him walking to the taxi. It was very touching. And so then the taxi driver came back and told us, I got him home. And we took his bike in the back so he would not have been able to. And he was scraped up as if he had already fallen. So we took his bike in the back to hold for him to come back for. So I I just was thinking about kindness, you know. And Leah said something the other night. She called Tim after choosing a profession here. A professional gentleman.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's what's on my mind is kindness to each other and to ourselves. It's gotta start here. If we aren't kind to ourselves, then how are we gonna get it together to be kind with others? I don't know. Maybe that's a start, but so many of us say things to ourselves in our heads that are just awful. You know, you have this conversation in your head about why did I do that and why didn't I do this and you know how you do. Yeah. So I'm inviting you to do better. Make kindness with you and with others. Anybody have anything to say about that? Yeah.
I would never talk to a friend the way I talk to myself.
Did you hear Leah? She says I would never talk to a friend the way I talk to myself. Yeah. What does that mean that we see kindness is the highest form of intelligence? Have you heard that?
No.
Do I have that right? Yeah.
I like it.
I know, isn't that something?
Oh, love it.
Love it. Say it again. Kindness is the highest form of intelligence. Wow. Anybody else?
I just want you to know, I have such a wonderful song for this topic. Be happy to maybe end our time together with it. or
Scott has
whatever
a
you
wonderful song for this topic.
Yeah.
He says he'd be happy to end their session with it. I love it.
It's called Handle Yourself with Care.
Handle yourself with care. Ooh, I'm feeling it already. All right, so I think it's time to invite Vicki in.
Hi, Sheila. I'm here. Hi, everyone. Oh my gosh, Sheila. Thank you for all those stories. You know, it's like one picture is worth words. And it's kindness as a mantra, as a theme, as centering prayer, as a focus, literally does bring heaven on earth. Kindness is the greatest, most natural expression of love. You don't have to belong to anything. You don't have to agree with anybody. Kindness is disarming. It de-escalates war and fear. It helps us. It really is a healing in itself. I think kindness literally transforms us and melts away fear in every way. We have a sister in this room called Miss Kindness, Karen Palmer, who has been ordained to be kindness in the world with children. And she has a whole wonderful program of kindness songs, and she goes into classrooms, and maybe she'll speak up in a minute. But kindness, your story with that man in the bar was wonderful. I have for years been kind of guided the same way with people with Alzheimer's. Sometimes we think of something with dementia or Alzheimer's as a label and treat people in a certain way. But your description of how Tim was treating this man is really what I've also been guided to. And I think many of us, be normal with exceptional kindness, extraordinary kindness, and normal, relating as peers, not as higher or lower, as someone in need of help, someone giving help. No, relating as wholly one, connected. Kindness connects us. Kindness doesn't draw lines of separation. And I learned many years ago with my mom, I just say, hi, Mom, in the morning, because I'd want to help orient her when she would be off a little bit. Mom, here, Mama, I'm Vicky. I'm your oldest daughter, and you love me, and I love you, and we're gonna have fun today." And it would set the tone. The other thing I've noticed is that kindness does have a tone. It's like a song. It's a sweet tone. It soothes like a lullaby. The other place we're kind, generally, is with children. And when we're with children, we take extra time to say something, to explain something, to wait to see if there's a response. That's the practice. We just have to learn to do it with ourselves and with each other, with our seeming peers, because we're all peers. But that example with you and Tim really is a powerful, simple teaching in itself. And that's all we're asked to do with ourselves. Years ago, I was guided, this was, I don't know how many years ago, to speak to myself in the shower and to use a washcloth. And this sounds a little personal, but to use a washcloth and speak out loud to myself and tell myself I love you. So I'll take the washcloth and I'll just wash my arms, wash all over and say, "Vicky, I love you. I love you. It doesn't matter what you did. I just love you." And over. And I've been doing it now for years because it's a spiritual directive. And I laugh. I get in the shower like we're having a morning meeting. Say, "Okay, here I am. I love you, Vicky. You ready for this?" And it's those little things. It's those little things that soften us so that we can be gentle with ourselves, gentle with each other. And why not be? If it's already done and we're already at peace and home, and we understand, at least with part of our mind, that the truth is right here, right now, then the part of us that gets anxious, if we just are gentle with it, that's all that we can do. Be gentle until that part of us melts into the wholeness that we already are. So I'm very much in favor of kindness. I think it's a wonderful spiritual direction. I think it encompasses, it's the one word like love that encompasses a whole way of life. And that's all we're coming into, to remember to be exceptionally like Mother Teresa. I had a restaurant years ago, and we had this big statue of Mother Teresa, life-size statue. And on the bottom, her saying was simply, "Remember to be kind." And we put that downtown Boston on a major street with just that little sign, "Remember to be kind." That's really such a timely message for all of us. That's something we all know how to understand and apply. The whole idea is if we can do it some of the time, we can do it all of the time. That's a matter of motivation. That's a matter, when Jesus says, "Heaven is a decision I must make," that's a place to make a decision. When I decide to be kind, especially to myself and to my brother, my sister, my whole world, my plants, my rugs, my everything, kindness is a way of life. It melts the terror of separation, the fear and the anxiety. It melts it. Probably kindness and gratitude are the greatest remedies in time, I would say. So, and if Karen Kindness is here and would like to say something, we'd love to hear you. Otherwise, maybe Scott could sing us his song. Thank you, Sheila. Thank you, everyone. Sheila, thanks for just jumping in and being yourself all the time. You're so fun and authentic. God bless you and thank you. Thank you, everyone.
I do have one more example. It just came to mind while you were talking. I was, okay, starting over. I used to live in Sacramento. It was after I graduated from UC Davis, and a girlfriend and I, who I roomed with when I was at UC Davis, was walking with me in the Rose Garden at the state capitol. And there were homeless people, and there was one schizophrenic who was, talking and almost looking at us belligerently. And it sort of scared me. But she went right up to him and said, and she started talking to him. And his eyes softened, and he started talking back with her, and then everything went away, and he went away happy. And I said, what happened just then?" And she said, I just tried to look at the threads in his speech that made sense to me, and I spoke to those. And I thought, well, I have a lot to learn from you and from Tim, and just it's a model that I would like to aspire to more often, because I let the fear creep in, you know, with the drunk and with that homeless person that was looking belligerent, and I let the fear creep in instead of thinking, well, if I just be kind. So I'm gonna, and my intention I'm setting to be better. Okay, Scott, will you sing us your song? Do you have a microphone or can you use?
I don't have a microphone. I'm gonna sit here and do what I usually do.
And I'm going to walk away so that Scott can be in front of the camera.
Sheila, you're getting better every day.
Yes, it's wet every day.
Better, bolder, better, more real. Oh, everything is just flowing so well. But I thought by now I'd be Mr. Functionality, perfect and complete in every way. But I still get lost and then get found as I walk the sacred stumbling ground. I need to reassure me I'm okay. Sometimes fumble in the dirt. I have a heart that can feel hurt. Still a tender child finding my way. What? And of course goes, the chorus goes, handle yourself with care. There's a precious child of God in there. Handle yourself with care. There's a precious child of God in there. There's a judge inside who's sometimes strong, convinced I'm doing my whole life wrong. So quick to rise up to my prosecution. But as I grow, it's getting clear, the judge is just a voice of fear, and gentleness, my only real solution. How can a child of God feel safe if I'm trying to whip myself in shame? There must be a gentler way to go. Doors of my heart open in a loving self-environment. A flower grows and blooms when it's given some room. You yourself with care. There's a precious child of God in there. And love yourself with care. There's a precious child of God in there. And so I live life day to day, some challenges are sent my way. Though I grow, I see the strength that's burned. I still get lost and get found as I walk the sacred stumble ground. Life is getting sweeter on this earth. Reaching out to make heart connections, making my peace with my imperfections. Finding out the world needs what I have to give. As I love the child in me, my heart extends so naturally. I can lend the world my shoulder when my cup is running over. Handle yourself with care. There's a precious child of God in there. Handle yourself with care. There's a precious child of God in there. Let's sing to ourselves. Put your hand on your heart. I handle myself with care. I
Handle myself with care.
There's a precious child of God in there. I handle myself with care.
Yes, precious child of God.
Oh.